Boom. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you're coming from. Hope you all are doing well. Welcome, everybody. What's going on? What's going on? Hey, what's going on? Welcome back. We got a good night tonight. I like this one. We're doing something special tonight. We're writing some really bad code. I mean bad. Like, I'm gonna get Twitter DMs bad, you know? That's what we're talking about. So I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Get in here. We got a lot of fun stuff to do. We're going to be doing a lot of review. We're going to be talking a little bit more about networking. We're going to give you some real examples that you can start using. We're going to talk a little bit more about the concerns folks have around networking. And then we're going to move into writing some actual layouts, like coding some actual layouts. We're going to go back and look at TechCrunch, Khan Academy, BBC, but we're actually going to do them this time. We now have the power, right? We have the power to build not only HTML, but the CSS and get the layouts going. Make it look like the actual photos or close. So excited you're here. You do have the power, exactly. The question for today. Hey, Vegan A's. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. That's wild. Thank you so much. That's really nice of you. I appreciate it. Yeah, you all been popping off. Hold on, let me see where we're at right now. The primers, the folks throwing around Jeff Bezos's bucks have been popping off. We're at 2,377 subs right now. That's wild. I never in my wildest dreams. So appreciate every single one of y'all. I can't wait until we can get that going right to RC. It's going to go right into our emergency fund for our next cohort. I know it's going to help so many folks that struggle, that need to be able to see psychiatrists, doctors, but they can't afford it. That's what that's going towards. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Indifferent. Hey, thank you for the gift subs. Alrighty, folks. We have a question of the day. And so I would love to see your answer to the question of the day. Today's question of the day is, would you rather all of your sentences have to say all of your sentences backwards, or have to communicate only through charades for a week? Seen a lot of charades, way more charades than I would have thought. Charades. All right, sure. You all went all in on charades. That's wild. I would be trying. I don't know. So I think last time I would have said sentences backwards, because I find that'd be like a fun exercise. But me and my family, we got pretty good at charades. So here's the secret to charades. If somebody nobody's ever told you about the secret to charades, is you got to play it with the folks you're gonna play with, like by yourselves. You got to come up with all your secret words, your book. That's a book. 3 words. You got to come up with those things ahead of time, and then you just beast it. Because when you go up against other people that don't have like all the things worked out, it's over. It's a wrap. It's not cheating. It's preparation. It's preparation. I'm going straight to the top. Wherever the Charades World Championship is, that's where I'm going. And they all do it. All right, so is that legal? Hey, I'm not saying anything here. Note to self, never play charades with Leon. Alrighty, folks, you know how we like to do it. I always like to start our evening with questions, and so let's bring up the questions slide. What questions you got for me? Just to give folks in here, give folks a chance. Win Clark, hey, thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. Is the CSGO server ready? It is. We were playing on it. We got a good test round in. We had like 20 people on the server. It was pretty cool. So the test server worked. I'm probably going to test it again tonight. I'm gonna probably like a half an hour after class is done and I sent out all the stuff, I'm gonna open the server again, and if folks want to come and do another test round with me, I appreciate it. I think we dialed in a lot of stuff. There's a couple modes that we're still trying to figure out. The person that's helping me build out the server, we just got a few last things to tweak, and then you're all welcome to come hang out in the office. So it's a CS:GO server that's 24/7 office. There's a map on CS:GO called the office, and that's all it is. So if you ever want to come hang out in the office, you're more than welcome to. And we're gonna get that going. So I think tonight will be the last test run, and then we'll kind of just leave it open 24/7. CSGO is a completely free game. You can download it. It runs on like anything, a toaster. I had it running on a Chromebook before. Like, yeah, it'll work. Other questions? What's the logic behind us watching Independence Day? It's a trust exercise. It's how I weed out the folks that trust me at this point or not. You almost gave me a month. This week will be a month, right? And so now I'm asking you to do something, and it sounds weird. It sounds wild. And so this is my trust fall. You either do it, you don't trust me, and either you do it and you trust me, or you don't and you leave, right? So like if you're not going to watch Independence Day, just leave the cohort. It's all good. You can find it completely free to watch online. Remember, streaming is completely legal. Downloading is not, right? And so it's a trust thing. That's all it is. No, it really does. I really does think it really does help bring home a very important point when we get to JavaScript, right? When we get to JavaScript, it really does help hammer home a really important point. And so I need you to have watched the movie before we get to JavaScript. Where's the merch? We don't have merch yet for this cohort. We're working on getting like better, higher quality stuff, and then we'll do merch. A lot of people keep asking for it, so we'll do it. And last cohort we just did, everything was at cost. Like there was no way for like whatever the cheapest price I could set it is what it got set as. There was no like margin or anything like that on there. So as cheap as we can find it at a good quality is what y'all get. Cool. We're going to talk more about groups in a few seconds. Can we get 100 devs decal? Yeah, we did have stickers last drop, and so we'll do it. I am sipping some tea as always. Tazo, get me the deal. All right. I think we got everyone in here. I trust your curls. Oh, that's one important thing. Before we move on, I know really, Leon, get to class. I have an important announcement to make. I will no longer be using OGX products. I'm ending my relationship with OGX, and I'm looking for new opportunities. And so, any good hair care products out there, you let me know. They got to be vegan. They got to be all the sulfate free, all the good stuff. They have to be good for curly hair. So if you know something that's out there, you let me know. Okay, and I'll take any deals that come my way, but I'm officially off Team OGX. I got like and this is totally probably has nothing to do with OGX, and so I'm not gonna throw that out there. I got like a little bit of like a really bad like scalp irritation on the side of my head, and it's like really painful, and I was like, crap, well, what's the only thing that could be? And I started like looking up my shampoo and conditioner, and there's some like bad stuff going down. Like people are like currently suing them right now. So I'm like, all right, I'm done. Y'all cut. It's over. I'm a free agent looking for new hair care products. So let me know. Alrighty, folks. Let's get into tonight. Tonight, we're going deeper in how to network. We're reviewing, as always, right? As always, our basics of CSS, of CS layout. We're going to recover our responsive basics. We're going to build some responsive sites, but really the thing we're focused on is layouts. We're going to take a look at some of the layouts that we've seen, but actually start to build them, right? Actually start to build them, right? And so that's the goal for this evening, is to get our hands on the keyboard, to write bad code and be okay with it. All right. For those that haven't checked in yet, you can go ahead and check in. As always, the check-in link is in the follow along materials, then it's in the Learn with Leon Live, and then they also have the exclamation check-in as well. But if you're already following me on Twitter, you can just see the tweet come up and go ahead and give that a like and a retweet. Helps folks find us, and hopefully not spend so much money to learn how to code. Alrighty. Study communities. Before we jump into study communities, I just want to say a huge thank you to Blah, our fearless moderator, for doing all the heavy lifting on this. They really made my life a dream to kind of get this going. These study communities are going to be a lot of work, and they took the brunt of that labor to help these things get off the ground and get started. And so huge thank you to Blah. I really appreciate all your help kind of getting this stuff rolling. So study communities, let's talk about what they are, right? These study communities are exactly that, a group to study with. They are not the only place you're going to interact with people. They are not the only channels that will have some of these affinities or identities made, right? We have those kind of like already channels in our main section for women in tech, individuals of color in tech, right? Like we have those channels, we're gonna be adding to them, right? So there will be other channels that will be added there that'll kind of be free talk chat groups, right? Like you can just go out, hang out there and chat. These study communities are like, who do you want to study with, right? And so I know a lot of people are gonna see and feel a certain type of way that you can only choose two. You can choose one group and one location group, right? And so you're not, I hope that you don't take it as like, this is the only thing that I can identify with. I am a gamer and now I'm only a gamer. No, that's not the intention here. It's who do you want to have a smaller group just to work with, just to study with, even though we're going to have all these other channels where you can chat and interact with those individuals, right? So you get one group, one location, right? And so please go ahead and fill out that form if you would like to be put into a smaller group. Each of these groups will have their own chat channel, but they will also have their own voice channels, right? And so a lot of these groups may have specialized voice channels too. Like the ADHD group will have just like a quiet cam only channel. And so it's just things to get, like, if you're thinking through like, who do I want to go through the next 20, 30 weeks with? Who do I think I would study best with? That's the group you pick. It's not the end all be all. They're going to have plenty of other channels. And the other thing is that this is a big experiment. We've never done this before. We might get 2 weeks into it and it might be the worst thing that's ever happened. We cut it all off and we go back to where we were, right? But we want to try it, right? No one's ever done study communities at this scale. So we have no idea if it's going to work or not work. But we're experimenting, and I think if we can figure it out, this will make it so that we have the ability to support people far and into the future. So know that this is an experiment. We're gonna have to probably add stuff. We might give the ability to join more than one in the future, right? But this is our first step, and we got to take a smaller step in the beginning so we don't fall completely on our face. There's a lot of weird stuff that's going to happen with these groups when we're first trying to get them going, trying to give everyone the roles. Like it's a big undertaking. And so please give myself and the mods some grace as we go through this process, because it might just all break, but maybe something wonderful happens instead, right? And so we're going to try, and I hope that you join a study community and hopefully find a smaller group to work with, to study with, and just give yourself a little bit quieter of a space to hang out and mingle. All right. But I really just want to reiterate that I know when you see the groups and you can only pick one, you're going to feel like, well, wait, I want to be in like 4 or 5 of these. That's okay. We're going to have those chat channels for all of those groups. It's just, who do you want to study with? Cool. And please don't like fill out the form more than once. We're just going to look at your first application. So Don't like refill it out or try to switch or anything. Take it a little bit seriously, pick where you want to be, and we're going to throw it in. And so we're going to have the survey open today, and then this weekend we're going to start adding folks to the channels. Cool. You definitely want to fill out the form today. We're going to leave it up over the weekend, but definitely want you to fill it out today. If you're here now, fill it out, please. Catch up crew, fill it out as you join us, and we're going to try to start actually doing it like tomorrow and Saturday. Yep. All right. Here's the form if you need it, but it's also in the Follow the Materials channel. All right. Submitting work. We have some work to submit today. I want your 15 minutes of pain, please. That is the responsive version where you tried with the 3 different media queries. Put it in a CodePen, please, and submit the form with your CodePen link. As always, the homework submissions always up an hour before class starts. So feel free to grab the link from there or from the slides. Can we use Glitch instead? Yeah, you can use Glitch, Replit, CodePen. Just pick one. We just don't want to bring the sites down as everyone fits their submits their homework. So pick one. I think CodePen has been the most stable, but whatever one you feel is fine. Yeah, it doesn't matter which one it is. Can we go over the homework? Of course, during office hours. So come to office hours on Sunday, or feel free to watch the VOD as you have time. But we'll definitely go over this homework during office hours for sure. Remember, office hours are every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. The VOD is always immediately available on Twitch afterwards. And the cool thing about office hours, if you just want to see the homework solutions, you can just jump to the homework solutions, because we know that we're just answering questions at office hours. So jump to the bits that you care about. $15 minutes pain is so worth it. We're down the road, folks. Big payoff here. During a great day at the office with DevOps failing, our pipeline jammed. Oh no, Dev. Hope you're doing okay. When are we starting GitHub? Once we get through JavaScript and we feel a little bit more comfortable with the terminal. Cool. All right, folks. Are we still going to add more houses? We're definitely going to do the houses. The houses will just be study communities. So we're rolling out the study communities, making sure they work, and then we're adding 2 more study communities, which will be Turing and Hopper. Yeah. Cool. Networking. Alrighty, folks. We started off last class by diving into the wonderful world of networking. And what I need you to take in, and the thing I need you to hear right from the beginning, is that most people are not good at networking. Most people start off feeling very scared, anxious, unsure, and not really certain about how they're going to go about networking. And I just want to make sure that you understand that that is completely 100% okay. We all start there. Some of us might have a little bit of the more extroverted genes, but most folks start not really sure how to do it. And the only way to get that feeling to go away and to get to the other side is to do it. We're all going to have some pretty uncomfortable moments when we first start networking. We're all going to have some pretty awkward moments. We're going to shake someone's hand, forget our name. Like, it's just going to happen, right? It's just going to happen. But I promise you, the more you do it and the more you find what works for you, the easier it becomes. Not all of us are going to wind up going to conferences or meetup groups. Some of us might spend more of our time in Discords and Slack channels and IRC channels, right? It's about finding what works for you so that you can unlock the thing that is going to be the most helpful when you get a job. Now, there is this weird thing There's this weird thing.
We don't get got.
We don't get got, we go get. Exactly. There's this weird thing that comes up when you start talking about tech. People really like to think that it's the skills that open the door for you to get a job. A lot of people like to say tech is a meritocracy. Get in here real quick. Hold on. Get in close. Get in close. That's bullshit. It's not. It's about who you know and who is willing to open the door for you, more so than the skills that you have in your head and in your portfolio. It just doesn't get you through that first sniff test. The networking is all about getting you to the point where you can get past that person that's gatekeeping you getting the interview and talking to the nerds where your skills can shine and be the thing that helps you get the job. But I need you to understand that you need folks in your network that are going to help refer you to jobs. They're going to help you skip that first round of the interviews. They're going to help your resume get to the top of the pile. If you do not start putting in the work to network, you're going to run into a brick wall of an uphill battle to get a job. Now, is it doable? Could you skip all the networking and still get a job? Absolutely. But we're talking about increasing the odds ever in your favor. Okay. Something that I've seen time and time again over my past 5 years. Thank you, OCC. Listen to Leon. The thing I've seen, at least in the past 5 years, is my students that put in the work to network. Here's how it really shakes down. Right? Here's how it really shakes down. They will get referred or networked in to 60 applications. What does that mean? That somebody has literally like gotten their resume into the right person. They've talked to a real living, breathing human being and made sure their application was seen. 60 of those, right? 60 of those. 60 is the number that I push all my students toward. Out of those 60, right? Out of those 60, 30 are going to ghost you. Just straight up. Rip, gone. Just like not going to, like you got referred. You got networked in. Somebody, you talked to a real human being, and something's going to happen in the process where like half of them just disappear on you. So you went from 60 networked, referred applications down to 30. Out of those 30, you might get a first round, something might happen, and it'll turn into like 15 like real interviews where you're talking to the nerds. You're talking to a real coder, right? That's going to evaluate your skill set, right? And out of those 15, you're going to get 1.7 offers. That's what the numbers I've calculated with the nonprofit I work at during the day. Our students get about 1.7 offers out of the 60 well-networked applications, right? So when you have someone that's just clicking apply on 100 applications, that's going to go nowhere if 60 referred, well-networked applications result in less than 2 offers, right? And so that's the thing I need to stress. And I don't want you to feel like that it's an unsurmountable goal. I have seen folks from all walks of life get good at networking, but they commit it to a process that works well for them. And then they put in work to get better at it. Right? And so we've talked about a lot of different things you can do. We talked about meetups. We talked about conferences. We talked about apps. We talked about online communities, right? It's about starting that process. For the first 5 years of my career, like my first 5 years of like a serious, like I was in Boston hustling, right? The first 5 years of my career, I had 2 coffee chats every week. There was literally not a single week in 5 years that I did not have 2 coffee chats. 5 years. Every single client I have ever gotten, every single dollar I've raised has come from those coffee chats or networking. Right now, you're like, Leon, what about Christmas? Yeah, there were some weeks where I didn't, but by and far, 2 a week. And I pushed. I knew every single person I needed to know. And it helped me so much. Every single job I've gotten, I've raised millions of dollars for my startups. Every dollar I've raised has come because I put in the work to network, and that has always beared fruit. The job I have right now, right? The day job I have where I'm managing director of engineering at Resilient Coders, that came because I decided to volunteer, right? And I met people and they liked me, and then that's how it got me the job, right? So like there are things that you can do that are networking that aren't just the things we talked about, right? I talked about volunteering being one of my favorite ways to meet people, right? To network, volunteering for conferences, even volunteering for local nonprofits. Like there are so many facets of things you can do to build this network. You have to find what works for you and go all in on it, right? But it's a process. I said it last class. Every single coding bootcamp that's trying to get people to get jobs should be 20 weeks of networking. And at the very, very end, right when you're about to graduate, they tell you to go do the Odin project, right? This is what will unlock the doors, is what will get you the job. And you can do it. You can do it. We're going to get practice together. If you're like, Leon, I have no idea how to do this, guess what? We're going to have a night where we all practice together, right? I'm going to show you the actual messages I send to people, right? And so this doesn't have to be a thing that you're good at today. This is not something you have to be good at next week. This is not something you have to be good at this month. It's something that you have to keep in your brain and build up and get better at over time. But if you're doing this bootcamp, you're committing to networking. There's just so many other things you could be doing that if you want to be in this cohort, you want to be in this bootcamp, it's a networking bootcamp. Surprise, you got. That's what we do. All right, it's how we get jobs. You can ask pretty much every single person that's got a job. There's so many of them in this chat right now that have been highlighting their messages, right? Right? They've been writing their messages saying like, listen, this is what got me the job. This is how I got my interviews, right? It's just not something that I like. Don't take my word for it. Listen to the alumni, go into the celebrations channel, like read what they said. Half our students got jobs without technical interviews. Let me say it again. Half our students got jobs with no technical interviews. I just literally had a student this morning tell me they got a job, and they said, here's the offer letter. They negotiated, I'm accepting it. And then their last message to me, the last message they said to me was, no technical interview. It was an $85,000 job, right? They had never coded before. And the last thing they said to me, right? The last thing they said to me, no coding interview. That's what we're talking about. If you put in the work for this networking stuff, you get so much out of it. I missed your message there, Sam. I networked my way into every contract and job opportunity I've ever had, never clicked apply. Exactly, Sam. And if y'all don't know Sam, ! Sam in chat, they're the best at this stuff. If you like, I think I'm okay at networking. Sam's the best. Definitely give Sam a follow. They got a lot of really cool posts and articles on like how to build your network, especially on Twitter and online. Definitely give them a follow. Slapper, hey, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. I appreciate you. All right. I've said my piece. It's up to you whether you believe me and want to go down that adventure or not. But I'll say it one last time. Your skills don't open doors. They close them. Your skills do not open doors. They close them. Your networking is what will open the doors, and then your skills, your portfolio, your projects, the things that are in your brain are what will help you close that door and get the job. But they don't open doors. All right. So for those that are still stressing over it, the core thing we're trying to do here, right? The core thing we're trying to do here is turn strangers into friends. That's it. That's all networking is. This is my TED Talk. We're done, right? You're trying to turn strangers into friends, right? Trying to turn strangers into friends. And you have to find a process that works for you to be able to do that. I love local meetups. We talked about this last class, because the reason I like local meetups is you just show up, and the act of showing up regularly, you get to see the same people. I love volunteering. The act of showing up, I get to see the same people. I love working on open source projects because I get to see the same people. These are things that you can do that immediately take you from stranger to acquaintance just because you're doing it regularly, right? And so there's a lot of those types of things you could be doing that will get you from stranger to acquaintance pretty quick, and then you can lean over into friend territory as well. All right. We talked about the follow-up pattern, and we all made we all made a very important promise, right? We meet someone, the next day we send them an email thanking them for their time, right? In our emails, there needs to be 3 things, right? In our emails, we need 3 things. You need to tell me how we met. You need to provide some value, right? Provide some value, right? Tell me how we met, provide some value, and typically thank me for my time. If somebody sends me an email with those 3 things, you're top of the pack, right? So here's the normal follow-up pattern. You meet someone at a meetup, a conference, an event, doesn't matter. The next day you send them an email, which we're about to see my template for an email. 3 days later, you add them on LinkedIn. And what do we never do? Chat, what do we never do when we add folks on LinkedIn? We never, ever add anyone on LinkedIn without a message. Some folks are a little confused on that. It's you're not sending messages when you add someone. There's always like a little box to put a message. So when you actually add someone, it gives you a little place to put a message. That's the message we're talking about. And then 6 days later, I add them on Twitter. Now people are saying, Leon, how do you get their email? Well, I ask. I'll simply say, hey, I really enjoyed meeting you tonight. Do you have any contact information? Do you have a business card, or do you have an email, right? Or some way to reach out to you? And normally they'll say, yeah, here's my email, right? People that are going to these events, right? They know that they're there to network too. And so it's pretty common for somebody to give me their email or their Twitter handle, right? But if I just know their name, there we go. Hunter.io, right? Hunter.io. Hunter.io, you can throw somebody's name and the company they work into, and it'll give you their email address. So let's see. Somebody works at, I don't know, let's say LinkedIn. All right, they work at LinkedIn. You find email addresses. Oop. There you go, linkedin.com. And what this will show you is it'll show you the most common pattern at LinkedIn. So you can see that it's first letter, last name at linkedin.com. Boom. Now you have a pretty good shot at what their email address is, even if they didn't give it to you. That's it. Boom, done. It's not creepy, it's networking, folks. Now, here's the thing. A lot of folks start to get in their head a little bit here. They're like, Leon, how does this not come across creepy? How does this not? People network. I think a lot of folks, especially if you don't come from a more professional background, I want to say, like a more like in the office type profession, right? Don't realize how much networking goes down, right? It's a big thing, right? It's a big thing, right? And interacting with folks, right? Interacting with folks, adding them to your network, forming connections, forming business relationships is a big deal, right? Is a big deal. And everyone does it. Everyone does it. And so if you're going to meetups, right? If you're going to meetups, right? If you're going to meetups, people are kind of expecting that you might ask them to follow up, right? They're kind of expecting it. Pretty much every meetup I've ever gone to, people are really open to the idea of like, hey, I really appreciate you. Do you mind if I follow up with some questions? Do you have an email? I've almost never ever been turned down for that. Most time people say, oh, actually it's easier to add me on Twitter or something like that, and you move on, right? Now, the cool thing is, specifically in tech, everyone has to learn, right? Everyone has to learn. Like, I could take the best engineer in the world, right, and put them on a new technology. They're starting from the same place as you are. They're reading the documentation. They're asking a metric crap ton of questions. So in tech, people have to help each other. If I wrote a language, I have to convey how it works to you. Like, that idea of like connecting and sharing information is like how tech started. Like back in the day, you bought your Apple II, you spent $3,000 on your computer, you took it home, and it was a blinking cursor, and that's it. A blinking REPL, right? And that was it. There were no games, right? Right? There were no games. There were no calculators, nothing on that computer. So what you would do is you would code a calculator app, and then you would go to a meetup and say, hey, yeah, like, look at my floppies, folks. All of these have calculators. Does anybody have a word processor? I have a calculator. I would love a word processor. And you would literally swap your programs with each other, right? That's how tech started. It's always been on sharing. It's always been built on like interacting with each other, building each other up, right? From the very beginning. So most people that are in tech have had an experience where somebody more senior gave them the time of day, went out of their way to have coffee with them, have taken them underneath their wing in some way, shape, or form. And so you have to realize that's the type of environment or type of community you're entering into, right? So reaching out, building connections, building engineering contacts is something that we all do, and it's like the cornerstone of our profession. So that's why networking is so important, right? And then people want to work with other engineers that they know. It's just natural, right? It's just natural to want to work with people that you know. And so that's why this networking is so important. All right. Here's an example of the email I would like to receive, right? If someone met me, hey, thank you for the posture check. And we had some hydrates come in yesterday I don't think I saw. So Janks and D's Cloud, thank you for the hydration. Cool. All right, here's the email that I would like to receive. So we met at a meetup or something like that. Here's the email. Hi, Leon. It was a pleasure meeting you last night. The event was so well done. It was exciting meeting such an amazing group of people. I hope you are enjoying a well-deserved break after pulling it all together. So I ran an event. They met me at that event. They said it was great to meet me, and they kind of made it sound like they had a good time at the event, right? So that's kind of the first thing. Let me know where I met you. Thank me for my time, right? That's a really good way to start. And then the second part here is the important bit. Also, I don't know if you saw this yet, but someone just bought a $375,000 first edition Pokemon booster box, and it wound up being fake. The Guardian covered it, and I remembered you mentioned being a big fan. Hope you have a great rest of the week. That right there is doing what? What did they just do in that second paragraph? Bob is charming as hell. What did they do in that second paragraph, folks? Exactly. They provided value. I'm going to remember this person. Value doesn't have to be like a big overwhelming gesture. This shows me that they read something, they thought about me, and they provided some value, right? So for me, this is an amazing follow-up email. I remember where you met, you boosted my ego a little bit, and you provided value. I'm responding to this email, right? I'm responding to this email. Cool. So we have that process of going from meeting to email to LinkedIn to Twitter. Now, can I tell you something that stays between us? Stays between us, okay? Don't tell anybody. Yeah. Remember how I told you I was meeting 2 people a week for years? It was true. I used the sheet, which you all have, but I did something else. I had a Google Doc on every single person I met. Every single one. Every single person. There's a Google Doc with every single thing I can remember from our conversation, with everything that I learned about you. I put that into the Google Doc. I set up my Google alerts for that person. And you bet your dollar when I ran into them, or if I saw them at the meetup, okay, kid just played in the lacrosse finals. Hey Bob, how you doing? Nice to see you again. Hope all things well. How did I know you said John's lacrosse finals was like a big deal. How did that shake out? Did they win?
Bing bong.
I did it. And I did it over and over again. It's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. So for me, I take this process very seriously. I've relaxed on it now these days, but when I was in my hustle mode, I was in grind mode, I was trying to build up my Rolodex. I stuck to this follow-up process. I made sure I kept notes on who I met. I've thought of ways to provide value, and I always tried to provide more value than came in, right? And that's something that really helped me throughout the early stages of my career. All right. Eventually, you've built up a rapport with these individuals, right? You've met them. You have kind of followed up, maybe email, maybe you had a little bit of back and forth, and you want to ask for a coffee chat. Or you met somebody really cool the night before, and you just want to jump straight to a coffee chat. Here is I want to talk about that's a really good thing. For someone with ADHD, you're super organized. I'm a mess because I have to. If you ask my wife what my biggest complaint in life is when somebody moves something. It's my biggest complaint in life. Like when I expect it to be in a spot and it's not in that spot, my life is over. I don't know what to do. I won't remember to do it. I won't remember to fix it. Like if it's not in that spot, it's all over. Right? I'm the same thing when it comes to my digital life. I have to have what I call my second brain, which is a place where it's just stream of consciousness, right? Stream of consciousness. Everything that's in like that's like floating in my brain has to go into this document, right? And then I take time to take that stream of consciousness stuff and put it into like more respectable buckets. And I do this every single week. I schedule the time for it. When I say I live my life one Google Calendar invite at a time, I mean it. If it's not on the Google Calendar invite, it's not happening. No ifs, ands, or buts. These kids got guts. It's just not going to happen. So all of these systems, these processes are things that I do every single time because the one time I don't, I forget it and it just goes all out the window. So for me, my attention issues have led to like very severe systems. And if I don't have those systems, it's all over. Cool. So somebody asked, I want to bring it up. I think once the ADHD channel opens up, I'm definitely going to put some of my tips in there. I've been working on a larger set of resources for specifically ADHD and attention issues, and then folks with dyslexia. I'm really hoping to get those out in like another week or so. But yeah, so that's why I am not an organized person by default. I am a hot mess, and if I don't build systems, it doesn't happen. Somebody said, what happens when you can't locate someone in your own country? You expand your radius and maybe you focus on remote. Do I schedule fun? Hell yes, I schedule fun. It literally like I literally have like I have a game night normally most Thursdays. It literally says game night on my calendar. I literally put like sleep. Right? So everything's on there. I just have to. Or else it's just not going to happen. Yeah. Cool. Alrighty. So we talked, sorry, a little bit of a aside there. We want to get a coffee chat, right? We want to sit down and spend some time getting to know someone. And remember, like I said, people in tech want to give you their time. I'm not gonna do a coffee chat with you. There's thousands of you here right now, but when I was in Boston, I never turned down a coffee chat. In the history of people asking me, I've never said no. Now, scheduling or stuff may have fallen away, or emails when it got lost, but I never said no to a coffee chat. And I would say out of the coffee chats that I asked for, above 90% were yes, like just straight away had coffee chats, right? And so for me, it's just such a core piece of being in tech and getting to know others and interacting with others that like it's just a normal thing. And so how much of the conversation should be talking versus listening? I think most, like if you're asking someone to a coffee chat and you've read How to Win Friends and Influence People, or you listen to it because it's free on YouTube, you can listen to it. You will have come across this idea of people like to talk about themselves. So I would say most of the coffee chat is me being really interested in them. I want to hear about your background, your experience. And I'm genuine. Like I really do care about your background, how you got there, your experience, what it's like to be an engineer at your company, right? Like all those things I'm just generally want to be interested in. And then that makes them feel that they like me. It's just part of the How to Win Friends and Influence strategy, right? And so most of it I would say is like they're talking the most. I'm interjecting, adding a little bit. And sometimes they'll have a back and forth and they'll ask me about myself, but it's more letting them talk. So I asked for coffee chats. I set an email out a week, 2 weeks, and then a month, and then I stop. I don't ever send more than 3, right? I don't send more than 3. I don't really do cold intros. Somebody said, what about cold intros? I don't really do cold intros. I really like my coffee chats to be people that I've met through the other channels that we're talking about. I feel like when you do a cold outreach and you haven't provided any value, that's just too much friction to get started. Maybe if you can provide a lot of value in that initial outreach, then it works. But I think coffee chats are more folks that you've already interacted with. A lot of people love to do this. This is how some people start off their networking journey. They just blast out a bazillion things to a bazillion different people, and then they get nothing out of it. Right? Networking should be thoughtful. You should take your time. It's about quality, not quantity. Always remember that. Networking is always quality over quantity, right? I'd rather have 10 people that know me really well in tech and dig me and are into my vibe and like are on my side than like 100 people that I've blasted on LinkedIn, right? And so in the beginning, go slow. This is a slow process in the beginning. Please go slow in the beginning. Don't, like, some people like jump into Twitter threads and they're like, I'm adding everyone on Twitter. I'm adding everyone on Twitter. You like this thing? And like, they just add a bazillion people. They add a bazillion people on LinkedIn. They never follow up with any of these people. They don't ever get to know these people. And it's just a waste. Start slow. Go slow, build it up, and you'll get there. All right. Here's a message that I would like to receive if somebody was asking for a coffee chat. And don't be cheeky and send me an email. I'm not going to respond to you. Hi, Leon. It was a pleasure meeting you last night. The event was so well done. It was exciting meeting such a group of people. I hope you are enjoying a well-deserved break after pulling it all together. So kind of that same line that we saw in our normal follow-up email, just thanking them for their time, kind of boosting the ego a little bit on like how the event went. And then the ask. As I mentioned last night, I'm just starting my engineering career and would love to learn from successful people such as yourself. Please let me know if there might be a time you're free to grab a virtual coffee over the next week or two. Before 9 a.m. or after 5 p.m. tends to work best for me, but happy to accommodate what works for you. Thanks. There's a couple things that are at play here. One, I am kind of boosting a little bit here, like successful people like yourself. Okay. I'm feeling good about myself. That's a good email. All right. I gave them kind of a range, like in the next week or two, right? So I'm talking about this being somewhat sooner than rather than later. I gave them a suggested time range, like before 9 or after 5 works, but I'm saying I'll accommodate what works for you, right? So you kind of butter them up a little bit, right? We buttered them up a little bit. We gave a good range. We made our ask, right? And then, right? And then you do your value, right? You do your value, right? I don't know if you saw this. It was in The Guardian. It was fake, right? So this is the coffee chat ask sandwich. You thanked them. You made your ask. You provided value. Thank, ask, value. Thank, ask, value, right? You don't have to use this exact like wordage, right? I don't think you should copy and paste what I have here, right? Like we don't want 1,000 people sending coffee chat requests with the same text, right? But it should give you a pretty common place to start. Thanking them, making your ask, and then providing value, right? And so if you can get that through in your coffee chat requests, I know they're going to go well for you. Is it weird to take notes during coffee chats? I think it is. I think some people do it, but I'm not there to like take notes or be like I don't know. I'm there to make a friend, right? I don't ever pull out my notebook with my friends, right? Like if we're chilling, I'm not like, oh really, eh? And I'm like writing it. No, that's weird, right? So don't bring a notebook. Don't be overly eager. Remember, you're trying to make a friend. Like even if they're a more senior engineer, you're still trying to make friends, right? And so really treat it that way. Use the sheet, right? You have the sheet, exclamation point sheet in chat works as well. Remember, it's a place where you're going to put the event, the date, the name, the company position, the spark, like the thing you remember about them, their email, and then you follow up on all of the patterns, right? You might have to come back and make a copy later because there's a lot of you on here. But yeah, use the sheet. You're going to forget people. You're going to forget people, and then you're going to be 20 weeks later, right? You'll be 20 weeks later wanting to apply to that company, and you're going to see, oh, I talked to Bob that works at that company a couple months ago. You're going to want to remember that spark so you can use that as part of your follow-up email. Hey, Bob, I really enjoyed our conversation about Rubik's Cubes a couple months ago. I actually bought one. I've been trying to learn it myself. I saw that such and such company has an opening. Would you feel comfortable referring me? Right? You got to have it. Don't record conversations. No, please don't. How does the Google alert work? You just go to Google Alerts. You just go to google.com/alerts, and you can put in any name or company or anything like that, and then it just sends you an email when it finds something. All right. Yeah, the sheet's not going to work because so many people jump on it. You got to come back after class. All right. Questions before we take our top of the hour break. When we come back, we're getting into writing actual code, building real layouts. I'm super excited. Questions before we take our break about networking, please. How do I not give off the impression of trying to ask someone out when asking for coffee? One, first, remove any idea of dating or anything out of your brain when you're doing networking. It has no place. Don't be creepy. Don't do that, right? You keep it professional, right? You keep it professional. You make sure that it's very clear that you're interested in career and their career growth, right? You're interested in learning about how they got started as an engineer, and that's it. Please don't ever ask someone out after you have a coffee chat. Please don't ask someone out when you're going to these networking events. These are two completely separate ideas. Don't be that person. I really prefer to keep it professional. I'm a little old school. I'm never going to give you my phone number. We're going to communicate via email. Right? I'm going to make it very clear, right? Very clear that this is not, this is nothing in that realm. This is a business relationship. And so I know I'm a little odd, but I think that I have seen a lot of folks benefit from keeping professional communication, LinkedIn messages and emails opposed to phone numbers and texting and stuff like that. How do we get open source projects to work on? We're going to cover that as we get further along. Tips to make a coffee chat feel less like an interview. Just be generally interested in the person. It's not an interview. It's, hey, how'd you get started? Right? How did you get started? What made you interested in tech? Right? These are like very open-ended questions that you're really, and in my emails, I'm always saying like, hey, I'm really interested in how you got to where you are, right? It's very clear that I'm trying to learn about your experience as an engineer. And so that's how I start with most of my questions. How does this work in places that are not the US? Same thing. You find a city that has meetups closer to you, or you find communities that are closer to you, or if you know you're in a place that just doesn't have anything, then you have to do the harder journey, which is networking with remote companies. Find a list of 80 companies. You can find it very easily online. 80 companies that hire remotely. Figure out the people that work there. Start figuring out what events they go to, what meetups they go to, and meet with them digitally. If you're thinking about being purely remote and in a place that does not have a locality that has engineers, then you're going to be doing the same process, but you're targeting people remotely and remote events. It's a more difficult for sure. Most events are remote right now. Some are slowly starting to go back in person, but most are still remote. They'll mostly be like over Zoom or some other platform like that. How do we start conversations in virtual meetups or coffee chats? Hello, how are you? My name is Leon. What are you excited about today? Like, what brought you here? If it's a JavaScript meetup, oh, like, are you excited about the talk? Right? Are you interested in the topic? Here for the pizza? Right? Any of those things are starters, but we're gonna specifically have a night to practice our opening. Right? We're gonna have a night where we all kind of are talking live to each other, where we practice our kind of like how to start conversations. Right? I know that's a pretty big barrier for a lot of folks, and so we're gonna do an icebreaker night exactly where we practice our openings, how we reach out to people, right? And so we're gonna practice all those things. I have some of my students that literally have like index cards they carry that have like all their basic questions that they've practiced. They go into the mirror, they look at themselves and they say, hey, I'm Leon, nice to meet you, right? And so we're going to practice these openings, we're going to practice these kind of conversations. And so that's why I say this is the beginning. We're going to go slow, right? We're going to go slow. Go to the bathroom. Don't wait for me to break. Why are you sitting there when you have to go to the bathroom? Just go to the bathroom. It's so weird. We're going to go slow. You're going to take your time, right? You're going to take your time. We're going to build up to this. Don't have something, right? Don't have something like that makes this a blocker to you. We're going to go slow. We're going to mess up a lot. We're going to find what works and we're going to keep pushing. Is there a dress code for coffee chats? No, keep it casual. Alrighty, folks. We're at the top of the hour. Let's go ahead and take our 5-minute break. If you're new around here, we like to be healthy. We like to make sure that we get our stretches in. We like to move around. We like to make sure if we're able to get up, look outside the window, let our eyes focus on something that is not the screen. And we'll be back in 5. You. We had some extra stuff that came in that I didn't see on my dashboard, so I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick. Are we talking about networking in the context of coding or that weird thing social? Yeah, we're talking about making connections so that we can get jobs. Cool. Put that up there. Alrighty. About a minute left, folks. Where did you learn all your networking hacks? In the streets, folks. Most of the stuff I teach is because I've probably already fucked it up. And I've learned from that fuck up, and then I distill it so that you do not have to fuck up in the ways that I have fucked up. And then the beautiful thing about having hundreds of students that I've helped get jobs is that I've seen them fuck up. And so I learn the things that have stopped them from fucking up, and then I teach it to you. Jordans or Yeezys? I've never been into shoes. And I only wear vegan shoes now. I just, like, growing up, we didn't have like money for shoes. So I had my Airwalks from Payless and I thought they were the jam. And yeah, that was it. All right, folks. Come on back. Come on back. Chris, Lance. Thank you, Chris. All right, folks, come on back. Come on back. Let's get into this. Boom. Thank you for the update on your bathroom endeavors. Glad it went well. Are you into zero drop shoes? I am. And they're more comfortable. All right. And the last thing we talked about networking was the apps, and we talked about this image. I just wanted to throw this image back up just because. Alrighty, folks, let's move on. Golden rule. Golden rule. Separation concerns is important. Why? Yes, organization. For ourselves, our teammates, it helps our code stay organized, keeping our content in our HTML, our style in our CSS, and our behavior and interaction in our JavaScript. Nice. Talked about this idea of progressive enhancement, this idea that the core of our content should be good HTML. And if we do that, we're doing enough. On top of that core of content, we just add a little bit of a chocolatey coating that is our presentation or our style. And we have to be a very, very thin candy coating of our JavaScript. So the core should be HTML, and then everything else is really extra. And the reason for that is because we are still in a time where most folks lack access to high broadband internet. In the US in 2017, the statistic came out that 35% of our rural residents did not have access to broadband. That was 22 million Americans. When you look outside the US, it gets even more real in terms of folks still not having access to high-speed broadband. And guess what? Your sites do not need to be that heavy. There's this really wonderful thing I found on Hacker News last time I was teaching this class called the 1 Megabyte Club. So it's all sites whose total size, right? Their total size is less than a megabyte, and they just keep a really cool list of it. And there are some big ones on here. We saw the light.cnn.com, but there's also like NPR now has a very simple one. So text.npr.org, right, has all of their content, all their main articles, right, in just text format. The site is way less heavy. It loads faster. It does all the things that you need it to do without having to sacrifice folks that do not have high-speed broadband. Cool. The other new thing that's coming out recently is Starlink. I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube of folks that finally have Starlink. So Starlink is Elon Musk company where they put satellites, and they figured out a way to make the connection to those satellites, since they're in low Earth orbit and not like all the way up in the outside of the like lower Earth orbit. They can actually connect to them and have really fast speeds. And so people have like really low ping and over 100 megabytes per second. So like traditional, faster than traditional broadband that's like wired, which is pretty dope. And for $99 a month, and their goal is to like bring that cost down. We're talking about folks that are like in the middle of nowhere in terms of like access to broadband, now being able to get access to it. And there's a bunch of other companies that are competing as well. And so hopefully we'll see over the next 10 years or so the proliferation of broadband in places that wouldn't actually run cable to. My buddy in Minnesota has it and loves it. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people that are really, really happy with it. But yeah, I've watched quite a few videos and people like setting it up, and it seems to work really well for them. So maybe this problem will slowly dwindle, and hopefully the cost gets reduced significantly. All right, where does CSS go, folks? Separate file, exactly. If we are writing for HTML emails, we can put a little bit in inline. If we're writing code at Amazon and we need critical path CSS, maybe put a little in the head. But for most of our projects and the things we work on, separate file, to make sure we adhere to separation of concerns. All right, our favorite game, chat. What is this? Oh no. What is this? Gotcha. It's a value, nice. How about this? Selector, nice, nice. And how about this? Beautiful. Declaration. So whole thing is a rule. A rule is broken down into selectors. Declaration block. Declaration blocks are broken down into declarations. Declarations broken down into properties and values. Wonderful. All right, we know that stuff that comes above can be overwritten. That stuff that comes below due to the cascade, right? Due to the cascade. But the cascade only comes into effect if the stuff below has what? Specificity, exactly. They have to have the same or greater specificity. Nice. Alrighty. We have a bunch of different relationships we can use to target specific elements in our CSS. So we have parent-child relationships, and this right here is a direct parent-child, right? Meaning that the child comes directly within the parent. There's no other steps in between, which is a little bit different than a parent-child that is not direct. Here we have a child of a paragraph that is directly inside of an article, but is still inside of a section. So no direct child. If we were to go ahead and put the caret here, this just wouldn't work. It would not style hello Twitch to be read. Beautiful. And the other one we saw is a direct sibling, right? Where we're trying to find a paragraph that immediately comes after another paragraph. So in this case, hello YouTube would be the thing that comes read because it comes immediately after another paragraph. Alrighty. Boom, boom, boom. Alrighty. IDs and classes, right? IDs and classes. So here we go. IDs can be used once, right? Once and only once. right? IDs can be used once and only once. Once you give us something an ID, right? Once you give something an ID, that ID cannot be reused, right? It cannot be reused on any other element. And once you give an ID, sorry, 1 second. Cool. Alrighty. Once you give an ID, right? Once you give an ID, that ID cannot be given to any other element. So I could not put zebra on another paragraph. I could not put it on another section. It is now no longer allowed to be used. And, right, this other element, this element paragraph cannot get another ID. Cool. Classes are a little bit different, right? Classes are a little bit different, right? Classes are a little bit different. Each element can have multiple classes, right? Each element can have multiple classes. So I could give it a class of Bob, a class of Rainbow, a class of Robot, and classes can be reused, right? So not only can one element have it, but every element could eventually have that class. And then our classes can be given as many as we want per element. And so you can wind up with an element that has an ID of zebra, then it has a class of Bob and a class of Robot and a class of etc. Because IDs are unique, classes are not. The way we target multiple elements at the same time. Nice. All right, chat. How many points of specificity? Well, for the rule, I should say. How many points of specificity for the rule? Are y'all referencing the amazing music duo 112? Is that what you're all shouting in chat? Oh, the points of specificity. I see. So we have 2 tags. We have 1 class, and we have 1 ID. So 112 points of specificity. How many points of specificity do we have on this one? We've seen these already. Should be a quick done. Nice. We got 1 tag. We got 3 classes and 1 ID. So 131 points of specificity. Nice. This one. What do we got for the rule? Oh, some of you got. It's okay. Some of you got. Let's see. We have 0 tags. We have 3 classes. We have 1 ID and an important for 1,000. So 1,130 points of specificity. Nice. Alrighty. Chat. What is every single thing in web development? Every single thing in that we see here is a what? A box. Exactly. Every single thing we see is a box, right? It's a box. Remember, when we're figuring out the box model, we calculate the box by including its height, its padding, and its border, or its width, its padding, and its border. And then the margin can push that box around. It's the bully. It can push it around, right? So if we're calculating the width, we would use the width of the element plus its padding plus its border. And if we were trying to do the height, we would take the height of the element, its padding, and its border. Padding increases the distance between what? Padding increases the distance in what? Content and border. Exactly. It'll increase the distance between the content itself and its border. Wonderful. Look at us go. All right. So we actually saw all this the exact code in the last class, but I want you to do it again. I want you to see if you can do your active recall here. I want to see if you can do it again. We have the box model code. If you're new around here and you want all the starter code that we're using, you join our Discord, !Discord or leonnoel.com/Discord. Once you agree to the rules, we have a follow along materials channel. Go ahead and download the materials from that day's class from the following materials channel, and you'll have everything that we need here. You unzip it and we go to work. So we have this box model practice that has the same stuff that we did last class. So I'm putting 4 minutes on the clock, and I want you to go as fast as you can through solving this. See if you can recall everything. Make sure you figure out how to get it done. And if you get done, write done in chat for me. Go for it. We don't get got, we go get. We don't get got, we go get. Exactly. Banger. Welcome, Chalupa. Glad you found us. I have 3 monitors and an iPad and my laptop screen, so 5? Jay's lessons are thorough. They are. A lot of great details in there. Thank you, Trader Joe. Would you recommend one widescreen or multiple monitors? I love one widescreen because I can have everything next to it. It's just that with streaming, I like to have separate monitors. Hey, Milky Dough, thank you for the raid. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping by. I got to get a raid coming your way soon. Thank you for stopping by. Hope you're doing well. Got to coordinate. Get you later one of these days. We can swing through with the whole crew. Hope your stream went well. For folks that are stopping by, we're working on some code here. We're working on the box model, and so that's what we see the timer for. Folks are working through the box model work. How was your stream? What were y'all up to? Hey, I appreciate that, Milky. Yeah, the shout command's not working. We got to figure that out. OCC, thank you for trying to, but we'll do it. We got to figure it out. Hold on, let me see if I can just copy. There we go. I can just paste it into chat. Definitely give them a follow, please, if you haven't already. And we're definitely getting a raid going over there soon. Ooh, look at all these folks coming in done. Nice. Hey, Different, thank you for giving them a sub. Woo! Coming in hot with the Dunzos. I see y'all. Well, what to do? I see y'all. Let's go. And doing good. We're doing good. I appreciate that, Pizzy. The one job, please. All right, let's go over this together, folks. Come on back. Come on back. Don't care how far you got. You're doing okay. Let's go over it together. And we've already seen this one, so we should be able to get through it quick. Let me chill the music here. Done finally on time. I love it. Congrats. Well done, everybody. So many dones. Good on y'all. All right, let's take a look at this together. Got a confession. I used the purple background. All right, please give it H1 some padding on 3 sides. So we know we can use the shortcut, right, where we can have the 4 individual sides for padding. So we can just go ahead and do padding. And we could just say, if we want it, like, let's say 0 on the top, we could do 0 and then 20 pixels. Let's do 10 pixels and then 20 pixels. There we go. So what that would do is it would put 0 pixels on the top, 20 pixels on the right, 20 pixels on the right, 10 pixels on the bottom, and 20 pixels on the left. So now we have padding on all 3 sides, right? Except for the top. Cool. Margin on just one side. So let's go ahead and put margin on the top then. Remember, we could do the same thing. We could do like margin and then do a value for just giving one size. We can also do margin hyphen, let's just put it on the top. And we can do, let's do 100 pixels on the top. Great. Now we have padding on one side, on 3 sides except for one, and we have margin only on one side. Love it. A light purple background with light blue lettering. What did y'all do for the background? Lavender for light purple. And then what did y'all do for light blue? Plum. Good one. We did sky blue last time. Let's stick to that. I thought it was fun. Cool. All right, let's move on. We're going through this one a little bit fast because we've seen it before. If you're new, don't worry. Typically go much slower the first round. You can always catch up with the VOD in the past classes on YouTube. All right, please give the H2 significant padding on the top and bottom. Cool, so let's go ahead and do our H2. And then we're gonna do padding, but we're gonna use the 2 values so that it repeats. So we'll do 50 px and then 0. And so what this will do is it'll do 50 on the top, 0 on the right, 50 on the bottom, and 0 on the left. Cool. A dark green border on the top and bottom. We can do border top. We can do like 3 pixels, solid, dark green. And we can kind of do the same thing for border bottom, where you just do 3 pixels, solid, and then dark green again. Beautiful. Anyone figure out a shortcut for that? And then the last thing is an orange background. So let's just do background, orange. Philly Eagles green. Alrighty. Please give the section a thick blue border. All right, section, thick blue border. Let's do 10 pixels. Whoop, border. Let's do 10 pixels, solid blue. Let's give it a height of 300 pixels and a margin of 400 pixels or more on the top. So let's do margin top and let's do 401 pixels. Cool. So we gave it a thick blue border. We gave it a height of 300 pixels and a margin top of 400. Nice. Last one. Let's go ahead and have all the spans. Go ahead and do thin yellow borders. So we'll go ahead and do border. And we'll do 1 pixel solid yellow just to keep it thin. And then equal padding and margin on all sides. We can just use the shortcut where we write it once, right? Once, right? And so we'll just go ahead and say padding. And we'll say, I don't know, 10 pixels on all sides, right? And then margin will do the same. Let's just do margin 10 pixels on all sides. And when you just have one, it repeats on all sides, top, right, bottom, and left. Yeah. Let's see how it looks. Let's see how it looks. Whew. Mama didn't raise no designer, but it satisfied the requirements, folks. Beautiful. I got a tear in my eye. Only a layout a mother would love. Exactly. There we go. Cool. Let's move on. Time for some layouts, folks. Time for some layouts. We have seen some layouts in the past. We've never done a full one with all the things that we've learned. And so we're going to do that tonight. We're going to see some real good layouts. For our layouts this week, we are using floats. Yes, that is right. The floats. The demons are back. Leon, why did you show us the magic last class? Why did you ruin it? Right? Why did you ruin it for us? Right? We saw the magic. 2 lines, no percentages, no weird hacks. It just worked. Why do you want me to go back? Yeah, it's a no flex zone. Exactly. No flex zone. Right now, we're all about floats. Can't tell you the number of one of my students that join a company and the first thing they get thrown into is floats. Floats are way harder to figure out. Floats are way harder to do layout with. So your first layouts, the layouts that I'm asking you to do tonight and the layouts I'm asking you to do for homework this weekend are all floats. No flex box, no grid. Roger, hey, thank you for your sub. Right? No floats. Sorry, all floats, no flex. This is a no flex zone. No flex zone. I gotta play the song. We'll get DMCA'd. Yeah. So all floats, no breaks. Exactly. Remember floats? Remember floats are fighting to get into a corner. If you float something to the left, it's trying to go up. My Apple Pencil keeps dying. If you try to float something to the left, it's going to go up as much as it can and to the right as much as it can, fighting to get in that corner. If you float it to the right, it's going to go up as much as you can and to the right as much as you can, trying to fight to get in that corner. And the beautiful thing, when you float a lot of elements, they wind up sitting next to each other. And so that's the hack of using floats for layout. All right. A warning. A warning. Tonight, I need you to dig deep. There's something that you might not know about yourself. We all possess something deep inside of us. Sometimes it comes out, sometimes it doesn't. But we all have something inside of us. We all have a baddie inside of us. We all have the capability to be a baddie. Sometimes we turn it on, sometimes we don't. So what I need you all to do is to dig deep and find your inner baddie, all right? Because tonight, I'm gonna write some bad code, folks. I'm gonna write some terrible code. We're getting rid of the old saying, and we're embracing our inner baddie, and we're gonna write some bad code, all right? So be a baddie, write bad code. Now, why do I ask my students to write bad code? Let me tell you. The biggest thing, the biggest barrier, like you talk about any barrier, the biggest barrier my students have faced in the 10 years of me doing this, right, is the idea of things needing to be perfect, the idea of things needing to be best practice, the idea of things needing to like look coherent. No, not tonight, not this week. Maybe not even this month. This night, this month, we're embracing our inner baddie and we're writing bad code. Perfection is for closers. We want to get wins on the board. We want to get layouts on the page. We don't want to be that student that spends 3 hours on a header. Don't be that student. Be a baddie, write bad code, right? Dig deep. Every single cohort I've ever run, the biggest mistake folks make, right, is trying to get things pixel perfect right out the gate. They're spending an hour just trying to get something a little bit more to the right instead of to the left, instead of getting the whole layout done, right? No client, no manager wants to see your amazing header. You can't go to a client and say, hey, I got a header, but nothing else. You can go to a client. Oh, here's the whole layout. We got to clean some stuff up. We got to make the header a little bit better, but you can see the whole page is here, right? I just need the weekend. So be a baddie, write bad code, right? And so just as a reminder, and just so I don't get as many Twitter messages as I know I'm about to get some Twitter messages. Guess what? Come here. I'm going to write bad code. I'm telling all my students to write bad code. And if you send me a Twitter message, here's your reply. Get in. Fuck you. That's all I got to say. That's it. I don't care. Get the fuck out. All right? Get out. Bye.
And we say bye-bye.
Right. Get out. Got him. Exactly. Tonight's not about perfection. Tonight we embrace our inner baddie. We write bad code. I'm going to bring up just the reminder so that none of y'all forget. We're writing bad code. Here we go. It's a disclaimer. The disclaimer. And we're going to leave Tina up there too. There we go. Just so you know, I'm a baddie. I write bad code. That's it. That's my Twitter bio. I'm changing it. We're going to do it live. I'm a baddie and I write bad code. Watch me. All right. So let's write some bad code. We're going to embrace that this evening. All right. We're going to embrace it this evening. All right. First layout we're going to do is TechCrunch. When I look at TechCrunch, I see three quick things, and that's what I'm going to go with tonight. Tonight's about being quick. It's about being fearless. It's about being a baddie and not caring about the haters on Twitter. We just don't care. I'm going to leave you unread. You're a hater. I ain't got time for you. I'm going to keep it moving. Keep sending me those DMs. Keep giving me the engagement. Thank you. You ain't getting a response. I'm a baddie. I write bad code. Hold on. All right. I just needed it. I needed it in my head. All right. Here we go. I'm looking at this. This could be a lot of stuff, right? This could be, let's see. This could be a header. It could be a nav. I'm just going to say a nav for now. Screw it. I'm a baddie. I write bad code. All right. All right. Got a nav. I'm going to call this a main. A main. And then I'm going to throw this in an aside. And maybe the aside will have like a list, right? Maybe the aside will have like a list, but that's where I'm going to start. Bad Coders Club. I'm going to start with a nav, a main, and an aside. That's it. I'm writing bad code. I don't care. So in our starter code for today, we have these three spots for layouts. So I'm going to start with the layout 1, which is just the template. It has the viewport in it that we talked about last class. And I'm going to go ahead and use a nav. And then I'm going to have my main. And then I'm going to have my aside. A lot of y'all are asking, Leon, what about this? What about that? I don't care. I'm writing bad code. I'm trying to get a layout on the board. I'm trying to get some wins. I'm trying to get some W's. It just doesn't matter. It never matters. It just doesn't matter. Get some wins and then come back and nitpick. Is it main or section? It's a main. For now, I'm a baddie. I'm writing bad code. Look in the corner. I'm embracing my inner Tina. Come on now. All right, let's look inside of here. All right, we got like an image. We got like an anchor tag for the login. And we got maybe like a UL with a bunch of stuff in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Inside my nav, I'm going to have an image. And I was going to give it a placeholder for now. And I'm just going to say TechCrunch logo. And then in the main, we had like an anchor tag that was that login, right? Let's put a placeholder for now. I'm just going to say login. And then after that, it kind of just seemed like a list to me, like a list of a bunch of like anchor tags probably. And so we'll put a placeholder in. And then what was the first one? Search. That might actually be a form, but we'll just say search for now. Startups. Search startups videos. Search. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put startups in here. And then I'm going to put videos in here. Cool. And it doesn't have to be perfect. We'll come back to it later, right? Cool. Main is a thing. Yes, it is a tag. Yes, you can look up on the MDN if you don't know what main is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's like 9 of them. I'm just going to copy this 3 times. Well, copy it and paste it 2 more times. Boom, boom, whoop. No var. Boom. All right, so we got like 9 of them there. That's good enough for me. You're not coding along. You're watching, we're talking, we're discussing. Please don't frantically feel like you have to code along with this. No, this is too much. It's too much. Pay attention, ask good questions, and listen to the decisions I'm making here. Don't be like frantically trying to get down. Too much. I mean, hey, you're a baddie. Go ahead and do you. That's all I got to say. You know, don't let me get in your way. All right. So we got our nav. Let's look at our main here. What China's fintech market can teach the world. All right. So I'm going to go here. Main. That seems like, I don't know, we'll call that an H1. And so what China's fintech market can teach the world. The world. Beautiful. And then underneath that, there's like a paragraph. And I am not going to type out a full paragraph. So I'm going to use lorem ipsum, right? I'm going to use lorem ipsum. And so I'm just going to keep the first sentence from that lorem ipsum. So if you're in VS Code, all you got to do is type in lorem and hit tab, and it'll give you like this filler code, right? So lorem ipsum is just filler code that devs use when they don't want to type all this stuff out. When I'm doing my bad code, I like to keep some of the text there just so I don't have a lot of work when I go back, right? But that's what I'm using there. So I didn't type all that out really fast. I just used lorem and hit tab, and it gave me all the filler text. Cool. And then there's like a span with somebody's name. I'm going to say span and somebody's name. There you go. Beautiful. So that's we got our nav on the left, our main with all the stuff inside of it, and then our aside. And if we look at our aside, I'm going to actually say this is like a list, right? I'm going to say this is like a list. And I'm going to say it's like a list of maybe just like H2s or 3s and a span. That's what I'm going to do. In my aside, UL, and then each of those blocks are going to be LIs. And what's the first one? Who cares? I'm just going to put a sentence of lorem. There we go. And copy that lorem there. So inside each of those LIs, I'll probably put like an H2. It'll have that stuff in it. And then I think there's like a span after. And that span had somebody's name. Cool. And so then I'm just going to go ahead and take, there's 4 of them. So I'm just going to have 4 of the LIs. Beautiful. Fintech is financial technology. Cool. So we have our nav that had all the stuff there. Our main, which had all the stuff that was in the main area. And the aside, which was kind of like that sidebar with the 4 LIs inside of it. Cool. Let's pull up our CSS. And let's open this in the browser to see where we're at. All right. So right now, it's not too bad. Not too bad, right? Like the core is there. If we're following what, chat, this is not too bad. If we're following what, this isn't too wild. Progressive enhancement, right? If we're following progressive enhancement, like our HTML is the core thing here. People could come. They could come to this site. They could see they could get to the links they need to go to. They could find the main content. They could see our content that's in the aside. Like it kind of works, but we're going to take a little bit further. We want to get that layout done. We want to get that layout done, right? So if we go back and look, this layout is really 3 columns, right? So I'm going to say the nav is what? 10%, and maybe like 50 for the main, and I don't know, 40 for the aside. So we can do like 10, 50, 40. Remember, this is a no flex zone. This is floats for tonight and this weekend. All right, let's go in here. let's get into our layout area, and let's go ahead and say nav, main, and aside, and let's float them all to the left. And we're just going to start off the main, the nav being, I don't know, the 10%, right? So we'll just redo the main and the aside, but we'll keep the width of 10% on the main, on the nav, I mean. And we'll come down here to main, and we'll go ahead and give that a width of 50%. And then we'll come down to the aside, and we'll give that a width of 40%. Cool. I feel pretty comfortable with this to start. And let's go ahead and go back to our site and refresh. I mean, come on now. Come on now. Come on now. I'm a baddie and I write bad code. That's all I gotta say. Check out my Twitter profile. First try. And so this is what I'm talking about, right? That took us what? A couple minutes to get a decent layout, to get the core stuff here, right? To get the core stuff here, right? Like, we could have spent an hour agonizing over just this nav here, right? But now at least you have the core layout. And do we have to go back and make lots of changes, do lots of things? Yes, but the core is here. We got through the block of getting just something on the board, right? We got a win. We got a W. We can go back and refactor, right? We can go back and refactor. But for starting out, this is what you want. Get rid of the fear, right? Get rid of the fear. Get rid of all the nagging things that are in the back of your head saying you have to write good code. No, we're baddies and we write bad code, right? The sooner you embrace that, the sooner you give up on perfection and you just try and write code of any shape or form, your world changes. Free yourself. Write bad code. And in the process of writing bad code, you'll find things that work. You'll find things that don't work. You'll find things that you want to change, that you might want to update, and you'll get better at it. But you have to start. Don't let perfection stop you from getting a dub on the board. This is a dub. This is what I'm talking about. This is a layout. The core bits are here. Yes, we have to play with sizes, heights, widths. We have to move stuff around, but the core is here. Get here first, right? Be Tina. Alrighty, next one. Khan Academy. All right, let's look at this. When I look at Khan Academy, chat, what do you say this is? What do we think that is, chat? It's a header. Yeah, it's a header. And probably like a nav, like you're saying, yeah, like a nav inside the header. And then that nav is probably like, I'm just going to say an anchor tag for now. Yes, I know it's a drop down, but I'm writing bad code. I'll probably say like an anchor tag there. Then definitely like a form. Maybe an H2. Because that could be a logo, but it could also just be text. I'm not sure if they have like their own font or something. So I'm just going to say an H2 for now. And then a UL, LIs, anchor tags that we kind of just saw in TechCrunch, right? And then when we look down here, this is probably like main. And then main's probably split up into two sections, right? And this section probably has like an image. And then this section has like an H1, a paragraph. And then I don't like writing buttons. I use anchor tags. So maybe like 4 anchor tags that are pretending to be buttons. And I think that would get us pretty much all the way to our simple Khan Academy site here. So that's what I'm going to try. Let's try that. I'm going to go to layout 2 that I have here and close this one out. Of course, you'll always get my solutions and things Why do I hate buttons? Because they're weird. And I'm a baddie. I write bad code. I don't like buttons. We had some words. I don't like them, so I ain't going to use them. Alrighty. Let's do our header. Inside our header, we said that we had a nav. And then inside that nav, we said we had an anchor tag right off the rip here. And that was courses. I'm going to put the Octothorpe as a placeholder. All right. Just means that we don't have the link yet. And it's just going to be courses. Cool. After that, we had a form. And whoop. And that form will have an input in it. And that input will be typed text. Yeah, I'm fine with that for now. After the form, what do we have here? We had like our H2. H2. And I'm going to put Khan Academy. There we go. I spelled it right this time. Let's go. Win. Thank you, Leon. You're on fire tonight. Keep doing you. All right, so we got Khan Academy. And then we had like our list of links on the end. So UL, LI, anchor tag, but our placeholder of the Octothorpe, and then it was donate. And then what were the other two? Login, sign up. So let's just copy this. Login, sign up. Cool. Alrighty. Andy Art, thank you for the hydration. Cheers to you. All right. So that's our header. Let's see our header off the rip here. Let's see. It's not bad. It's just not sitting across, right? Like it's readable. We just want everything sitting next to each other, right? We just want everything sitting next to each other. So let's go and write some CSS here. And we got our box sizing. That looks all good. Let's come up here. We already got our header. And so I want every single thing inside the header to sit next to each other. So I could just float everything that's inside the header. If we look, all of our stuff is technically inside the nav. So let's go do header, nav, and how could I select everything? I can just do asterisk. All right, I can just do an asterisk. And people are saying display inline block. We haven't talked that. We said floats only. This is no flex zone. I'm just gonna do what I know how to do, right? Maybe I didn't know about that stuff yet, right? Who cares? I'm writing bad code, folks. It's bad code. I'm gonna do it how I know it, and it's gonna look good. All right, let's go ahead and refresh. Not bad, right? Not bad. It's just not like there's no like space in between stuff, right? Like it's just in a up. So let's give everything some whiffs and maybe some margin so they're not sitting next to each other, right? Let's give everything a whiff. Maybe I could do like width 10%, and then let's do some margin. Let's do like 1% to bring it off the top. Let's do 0 for now, and then 5% in between. And this is just me spitballing, right? I have no idea if any of this will work. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. I miss Flexbox so much right now. Exactly. That's why we're doing what we do. So we're doing what we do. Guys, this is not completely wild. Like it seems like our form is not taking up all the space. The form is all the space, but if we look, the input's only taking up, because the input's at 10%, right? We said everything was 10%. And so the form's not taking up everything. Maybe if we did something funky, maybe if we did this real quick. Right? If we do that, right? If we do that, then it's just the top level stuff, right? It would be just the top level stuff. It would be like just the anchor tag, the form, the H2, and the UL would be that percent, right? It wouldn't go any deeper to apply that percent and stuff like that to the sub elements. So now we can see like the anchor tags are no longer sitting next to each other, right? But the form is like the full size now, right? Okay. Okay. So let's think about those forms, those LIs. Maybe we can target those LIs. Let's do nav. I'm gonna do direct, so I don't have to worry about anything like further down. Let's can we float them to the left? And can we get them like a certain size? Let's just float them first. Let's see if that does anything. Did nothing. All right, if we inspect. Not sitting next to each other. Maybe they don't have enough room though. Maybe they don't have enough room. Like see how it's like taking up that full width? Maybe because they don't have a width, they can't sit next to each other. Right? Or right now we don't have enough specificity either, right? Look, we're saying header nav asterisk. We don't have enough specificity either. So if we did like header nav li, when we came back, cool. Now we know we at least have enough specificity, but let's try giving them a width. I'm curious. Let's do 33% because there's 3 of them. Oh no, bugged out. I don't know what that is. Cool. Why didn't it work? Why didn't it work? Tell me. Why is it not working? What would nav right caret li mean? Is that doable? Look at the index.html. ul li, right? So if it's a direct child, there exists no nav direct child li. They're all inside of the ul. So that direct child just wouldn't work, right? So that's actually working against us. So we got to get rid of that direct child. There we go. There we go. Okay. Got him. Okay. Sitting next to each other, looking good. I don't like the dots though. How can I get rid of the dots? List style none. Let's try that. Cool. Boom. Dots are gone. I see the Yankee cards are working for a lot of y'all. Exactly, Paul. I see it too. All right. So why did I put list style none up here and not on the LIs? Where does that list style have to go? What does it have to go on? Yeah, it has to go on the UL. Has to go on the UL. All right, we got the header almost there. Like I feel pretty good with this header so far. I think most of our stuff is here. Let's go ahead and take a look. Like that's there. Come on now. That's there. Yeah, we got to add some height, maybe a little bit thickness, but it's the layouts. Like it's almost like, come on now. You can't even tell the difference, folks. Look at that. Night and day, same thing. All right. Let's go ahead and let's finish up this layout and then we'll take our break. Finish up with this layout and we'll take our break. We have our main with 2 sections inside of it. And so if we have 2 sections, we want to sit next to each other. What should we do? We want the 2 sections to sit next to each other. what will we do? Float left and give them a width, right? 50%. 50%. Float left. Beautiful. That'll get them sitting next to each other. And I'm just going to give them some height. I know right now, like I wouldn't necessarily always do this, but I'm being a baddie. I'm going to give them some height. I don't know, 600 pixels. Just so that the container opens up a little bit. I might put some borders on them. I'm not sure. All right, so we got that. If we look at our, let's just save that and open it real quick. Let's just see. Cool. Oh, we didn't even do did we even do the main yet? Let's see. Oh, we didn't do the main yet. So let's do the main. And then we're gonna have like a section and another section. And in this first section, we just have our image. What is it? What is the image? Kids playing on computers. All right, kids playing in computers. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just screenshot it. I don't have the image, so I'm just gonna screenshot it. Screenshotting is different on each computer that you're on. On Macs, it's just Command Shift 4. Yoink. All right, so I got that screenshot. I am going to take it from my desktop. So it's on my desktop, enable it con. Then I'm gonna bring that con image. I'm just gonna copy it, and I'm gonna go to my class folder from today. I know you're not seeing this, but I promise you that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna go to layout 2. I'm just gonna drop the photo in there. All right, so here's my layout 2 folder. What I'm going to do, and I'll show it to you. You find it. I know it's a little tiny to see, but I have a con photo that I just screenshotted. I'm just gonna drag it into my layout 2 folder. Right? We're hacking NFTs, exactly. This is how you hack NFTs, right? So we dragged our con folder in here. So that means for our image, we can now use it. You can actually see the image right here now in my little tree view. I'm going to call it con, and it's a PNG. So PNG because it was a screenshot, and it's kids learning would be the alt. Cool. We got our image, and then this other section had some text in it. What did the text say? For every student, every classroom, real results. So that's an H1. For every student, every classroom, real results. Boom. Okay. And underneath that was a paragraph and then some buttons. Let's go and do our paragraph. Let's do another lorem. Too much. I wish they could just like give us like, I want lorem half. There you go. We got our lorem. And then we have the anchor tags underneath of it. And so I'm just going to go ahead and put I'm not even going to put them in a list. I'm just going to be a real baddie right now and just put in anchor tags. And I think it was like, what was it? Learners. Okay. And I'm just going to put 4 of them. That's it. That's it, folks. Dust it. We have our main 50% height floating left, so they should be sitting next to each other. Let's take a look. Refresh. Not bad. Not bad, folks. Not bad. Tina would be proud indeed. Let's go ahead and let's clean this up just a little, just tiny bit, and we'll take our break. Give it a, I don't know, width of 50%. Let's see. There we go. And I just want to bring it down just a little bit. I want to bring it down just a tad bit. And so let's go ahead. Let's say on the main, and let's be a little bit specific here, section H1 and the main section image. Let's go ahead and just give them a margin top of 200 pixels. Just to push them down a little bit. First try. Whenever I do this, I always think of it. I even queued it up. One of my favorite memes, spicy meme, OG meme. If you know this meme, we could be friends. Whenever I do this, I always reminds me of the, anybody ever see Leprechaun say, yeah? Anybody remember that meme? Yeah, I pulled it up already. Yeah, here we go. Everybody see Leprechaun say, yeah? That's what that reminds me of. This is a classic OG meme. Everybody see the Leprechaun say, yeah. Yeah, that's what I feel like. All right, folks. Come on. Look at us go. Look where we were. This is 3 weeks in, folks. This is we're dipping our toes into the 4th week. Look at us go. Building layouts. Look at us being baddies writing bad code. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. TechCrunch, where you at? All right, folks. When we come back, we're gonna take a look at the BBC. All right, so come on back. 5 minutes on the clock. If you're new around here, like to be healthy. If you're able, please get up. If you're able, let your eyes focus on something else that's not your screen. I'll be getting my Tina twerk on off screen. Y'all want to see that? You know what you gotta do. 1,000,000 channel points. OnlyFans could be yours. All right, folks, take a break. Well deserved. And I will see you all here in 5 minutes. We're gonna move into the BBC. I'm gonna take a peep at the CSS while we're moving on. Thought I was gonna be late, huh? Got. All right, folks, come on back. All right, now I'm moving through this at a pretty good clip, but what I hope you're realizing is that this is how I start all my projects. You'll think I'm joking, but this is how I start. Right? This is how I start. I make sure that I worry about getting most of it there. I can always come back and make it better. Do not let perfection get in the way of you getting something started. No one will care. No one will ever see this. It just doesn't matter, specifically when you're starting out. You want to just try and get into a lot of these layouts early on, make mistakes, and you carry stuff through each one. I switch between my layouts too. So like your homework is going to be in doing these, right? Your homework is going to be to like do these on your own, right? And for me, sometimes I get hung up and I'm like, I have no idea how I'm going to tackle this nav. So what I'll do is I'll move to something else, right? And then I'll come back, right? Hey, thank you for the posture check. I think I'm doing good today. Thank you. Get me in the right mindset, right? But I'll jump around too. Like if I'm starting to bang my head against the keyboard, it's probably time to take a break. It's probably time to get up and diffuse, and maybe even might be time to move on to a different project and then come back at the other one with fresh eyes. Pomodoro is a lifesaver as you're working through this. Don't just use Pomodoro for like studying, use Pomodoro for your work as well, right? I say the rule is 20 minutes. If you're spending more than 20 minutes on something and you haven't gotten anywhere, it's time to move on. It's time to diffuse, it's time to take a break, it's a time to move on to something else and then come back, right? But with these layouts, I need you to be a baddie, write bad code. It doesn't matter. Get rid of this idea of pixel perfect. Get rid of this idea of perfection. That's going to come way later down the line. Because as you stumble through these layouts, right? As you stumble through these layouts, you're going to pick up little things each time. Wait, I didn't really understand how to like get space between stuff, right? Or I didn't really know how to push stuff down. But you push yourself. You use the MDN. You ask for help. You ask for help. I loved when we rated Splashly. I think it was on Tuesday. And the thing they said, the biggest thing that they wish they had done differently, right, is ask for help. Now, don't be the person that says, look at my code. Nobody wants to look at your code. Be the person that says, I have this very specific issue. How do I fix it? How do I do it? This is the thing. Here's the screenshot. Here's the code. How do I do that thing, right? Don't post, can anybody look at my code? Nobody wants to look at your code, but people want to help you, right? So if there's something that you don't understand, that you don't know, ask the question, give the screenshot, give the code. How do I break it down? How do I do it? People want to help with that. And the biggest thing early career engineers get wrong is they don't ask questions. They give up in silence. That's the worst thing that could ever happen, is you give up in silence. You say, this is too tough. It's too mentally draining. I don't want to do it. And you just click out of everything. We never hear from you again. Go out with a bang. Go out with none of this makes sense. Can anybody help me? I don't get what's going on. Don't give up. Be a baddie. Write bad code. Ask for help. Right? And the thing too is that I really needed to sink in, is that you take the best engineer in the world and they've never written HTML and CSS. They're going to do exactly what we're doing tonight. They're going to learn. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to break stuff. They're going to write bad code. And in that process, find stuff that works and carry that to the next one and carry that to the next one. And then they come back and redo them over again. And then they delete everything. The best thing you can do, I'm not going to do it because I need to share this with you after class. The best thing you do is Control A, boom. That's the best thing you could do. And then do it again. That was Big Lee, I'm sorry. Best thing you can do. Control A, boom. Delete it, do it again. right? And then you finally put it in again, and then boop, gone. Do it again, right? Get that repetition in, right? Right? Get that repetition in, and don't put it on your brain that it has to make sense. You could have sat here this entire time and not understand one blessed thing that I just did across these two layouts. It just doesn't matter. We're writing bad code, right? Come back, watch the VOD, slow it down, speed it up, do what you got to do. Look through the things that I talked about that I made my decisions on, right? As soon as this class is over, the VOD comes up, pull it down. Look at the decisions I made. Think about your decisions, right? What would you have done differently? How would you have done it? How would you have written even worse code than me, right? Cool. Woofsa. All right. Next one, we're going to do the BBC, folks. So we got to open up layout 3 here. Can we use classes on this one? Yeah, you can use classes if you want. I'm just doing it without them because I think it's fun to try it without them. But yeah, classes definitely would have helped. We would have ran into like that weird specificity thing. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So let's take a look at this layout here. We have the BBC image, and what I'm going to kind of try and break this down into is kind of like the big pieces that we see here. And I'm going to try and carry some of the stuff that we've seen in the other layouts into this one and see if it'll help us. So I'm kind of seeing like 3 big areas. Yeah, I'm seeing 3 big areas here. So I'm seeing a header. I'm seeing a section, and I'm seeing another section. And so those are like the 3 big areas I'm seeing as I'm writing my bad code. And I think the header is kind of similar to what we've seen already. But this section down here, I think has like 2 sections inside of it. This one's pretty straightforward, like H1 paragraph span. This one's a little bit tricky. This section has 4 sections inside of it. And each one of those sections has like an H2 and a span. And then this one down here is like 3 sections inside of it. And each one of those sections has like an image, maybe like an H3, a paragraph, and a span. And so then that'll just be copied 3 times to be 3. Yeah. And so that's kind of how I'm visualizing this layout. And when I'm looking inside the header, I see an image. I'm just going to say an anchor tag for now. And then, this is all in the nav too. And then like a UL with a bunch of LIs. And then maybe like a form at the end, right? So nothing too wild. A lot of the stuff we've kind of already seen. And so let's get into it. Let's write some bad code and see what we come up with. Start with the HTML. I just like to start off with my HTML. All right, so let's go ahead and do our header. And then inside of our header, I think it was pretty clear that we have a nav, like all that stuff at the top was navigational content. It was stuff that's gonna be at the top of every single page. I'm gonna say nav. And then inside of my nav, let's see what we started off with. An image and then like an anchor tag. So let's just do an image. And I'm just going to put a placeholder for now. And we say this would be BBC logo. And then an anchor tag. And that anchor tag just said sign in. How British of them. Sign in. And then after that, we have a UL with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 LIs again. What's up with these navs having 9? So UL, LI, anchor tag. Let's just put a placeholder and then news. And we're going to need 8 more of these, Johns. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's do one more. There we go. Cool. And then the last thing we saw in this header was like the form. There's just like this like weird drop down, but who cares? Form. And we'll put an input in here. And I think that'll be good for now. And let's just start trying to get, the, let's just try to get the nav here. Yeah, I think let's just get this header going. If we look at this header is like, has some height to it. It's all black. I think we can, and like the text is all white. So maybe we start there with our CSS and then we'll come and do like the main and everything else. Now, I kind of like to go by like big section by big section. So you kind of saw me say that there's like 3 areas I saw: the header, that other section, and then the other section. So I would kind of work through them in those 3 areas. I would probably do the header, right? Then I would do the section, then I would do the section. And that's how I'd go. I'd do one and then the CSS, the other, then the CSS. Beautiful. All right, so header, let's give it a height of like 100 pixels. And let's go ahead and give it a background of black. And I'm going to give it a color of white. Now, the reason I'm giving it a color of white is because I want so there's something called like inheritance, where some elements can inherit their color from the parent. And so in case there's any inheritance, I just want it to grab the white from there. I might have to use white somewhere else, but like that's why I'm doing it. Cool. Let's kind of do the same trick that we did before. If we want all the nav elements to sit next to each other, right? Right? You want all the elements in the nav to sit next to each other. What could we do? I've already seen it. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do nav everything. Nav everything. Let's make it float left. And so it'll get everything in the nav floating to the left. Let's make sure that it's a width. Maybe we'll just start off. I always pretty much always start off with 10% when I'm being a baddie, you know, just to start off. Let's also just do color while we're here, just in case there's some inheritance. And then you might have ran into the reading of like this idea of some things like wanting to sit next to each other or not sit next to each other. And sometimes it comes down to like this display property. We're going to talk more about display properties, but for now I'm just going to do display block, just so that everything is treated as a block. Like we don't have to worry about like inline or anything like that. Everything's just a block. Yeah. Cool. All right, so we got our nav, everything's floated, percentage should be colored. Let's see where we're at. What about making them this or making them that? I don't care. I'm writing bad code. There's no right or wrong here. It's just whatever comes in the brain and goes out the other side. There's so many things that you could worry about, that you could do that's better, that's more appropriate, that would make your life easier. But I'm a baddie writing bad code. I don't care. I just want to get a win on the board. I'll come back and make everything inline. I'll come back and make everything flexbox. I just don't care. I'm a baddie writing bad code. Let me do me. It's not bad. Not bad. We got stuff kind of sitting next to each other. Kind of running into that same issue that we saw before, where they're kind of like they all inside are not getting enough width, and that the actual element itself is not getting width. And so let's make sure things have the appropriate width. We don't want the UL. Like right now this UL is 10%. So there's no way, right? There's no way that we're going to get all those LIs sitting next to each other if they only have 10%. So I think that's one of the things we have to fix in our cascade. I think we have to fix that UL to be like bigger, maybe like 50, 60%. So I'm going to do nav UL, and I'm going to give it a width of 50%. Let's save that. Let's come back and see where we're at. Let's go. Okay. Look at me now. Let's do the same thing then for the form while we're here, right? That form is just, if we highlight it, if we click inspect, we can see that the form is taking its 10%, but the input is not. The input's like not doing its full width. So let's make the input full width. Nav form input, and let's just make it width 100%. Let's see. Oh, look at me now. Shazam, exactly. All right, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I don't think there's anything else I really want to change here except maybe like making this a little bit smaller. So maybe like instead of 100, actually let's use the inspector here. Let's right click inspect, and then on the header, I'm just going to come down to the header where it says a height of 100 pixels. And once you click on that 100 pixels, you can use your arrow keys. And so I'm just going to hold down the arrow key until I think it looks good. 55 looks good to me. 55 is where I'd probably want it to stay. So I just used the inspector, right click inspect header, and then went to the height and then held down the arrow key until it looked good. 55 pixels. Let's come back and make this 55 pixels. Cool. I'm feeling pretty happy with that. Let's compare it to the image, BBC image. Yeah, we don't have the logo in there yet, but the actual kind of like layout of it, that's pretty clean. All right, I'm happy with that. All right, so we talked about having that header that we did, and then we talked about having two sections. Let's get both of those sections on the board here. Section. Cool. And then in this section, let's do the bottom section first. The bottom section I think is a little bit easier because it's just sections. And then inside of each of those sections was, let's look at the image. An image, an H3, a paragraph, and a span. Image, H3, paragraph, span. Do placeholder for now. And we'll just put Joe Byron. There we go, Joe Byron.
Bing bong.
And after the image was an H3. Biden, and I'm just going to use Ipsum. That's too much. There we go. Boom. And then after that was a paragraph, right? That was a paragraph. And let's get a little bit more text than the H3 was. And then after the paragraph was a span, and it was US election. US election 2020. Cool. And then the cool thing is that this was just like three of these were exactly the same. I think there was like an H2 here too. I think that was like H2 that said news, right? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this section. We outside, baby. We outside. We ain't outside. I'm inside. I wish I was outside. Cool. Leon doesn't listen to us plebs. Not right now. I'm a baddie. I'm writing bad code. I'm in my zone. All right. So that looks decent, right? So if we have these sections, what do we want to do? We want to make these, how are we gonna get these next to each other? What are we gonna do, chat? How could I get those next to each other? Load them left, load them up, with 33%, repeating, of course. All right, and this section is, we could give it like an ID or a class, but we could also do like header, plus section, I'm actually going to make this a main just to see some other tags. Actually, this is a main. Yeah, I like this being a main, not a section. Like that's the main area of the site, right? Like if we look at this image, I'm going to call this a main and not of a section. And so what we could do is we could do main plus section, and it would give us only this section, and then we could do the sections inside of it. Yeah, that's the move. That's the move. All right, let's go back to our CSS. We can do main plus section, and then the sections that are immediately inside of that section. And we're going to give them a width of 33.33% repeating, of course. And then we're going to give them the floats of the lefts. Cool. Yeah, because if we look at our HTML, main plus section would grab that containing section, and we're targeting all the sections inside of it. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Oh, whew. Looking real good. Looking real good. That's all I gotta say. Looking real good.
Bing bong.
All right. Now, I think we saved more difficult for the end. Right? We didn't do the main yet. So let's go back and fill in our main. Look at the image real quick. The main I'm really seeing as I see two sections inside the main. 1, 2, and then this section has 4 sections inside of it. So let's try that. Let's go back to our main. What does the A stand for on your cup? It's the beginning of my wife's name. Yeah. For one of our wedding gifts, they gave us matching mugs with the first letter of each of our names. So yeah, I stole her cup. You got me. I got. It was clean. What can I say? All right. So in the main, we had that. I'm going to say like an H2 for now. That was like, welcome to the BBC News Hour. All right. Then we had our section. And then we had our section. Roll up like section. If you could tell me where roll up like section comes from, like that's like next level you being in my head. I'll take a quick gander at chat real quick. Just making sure. Close, Wolfen, you're close. It is grime. It is a grime lyric from Harlem Spartans. Hey, briefcase. There we go. I love it. I hope you watched past classes and got it from there. If not, like, we're on the same level. Good job, briefcase. It's kind of one of the most iconic songs in grime music. When the gang pull up, are you going to back your brethren? Top bars. All right, so we got this section. We know there's an image in it. And I don't know what the image was. What's our placeholder? 2 people. There we go. And then there was I think we might call that our H1 piece deal. H1 historic piece deal. And then after it was a paragraph that we'll just use some lorem for. And then I think there was like a span too. Yeah, Middle East. Cool. So that, I think that handles our first section that's on the left. And then the section on the right was a little bit more tricky because there's 4 sections that have Americans go home, Canada. So we're just gonna say that's like an H2, H3. Let's just say H2 for now. H3, and then a span. And then span. And I think it was just like, what was that say? US, Canada? Canada. Shout out Drake. That's Aubrey to me. Lamborghini whip. Green doors. Or what is it? Lamborghini doors on my green whip. I'll keep throwing them out there. I'll see if you're in my head or not. Where does that come from? All gas, baby. Exactly. Channel 5. All right. So there's 4 of them. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it 2 more times. Cool. We have our section 1, 2, 3, 4. We got our main one up here. So I think where we'll start is I want these 2 sections, these 2 big ones to sit next to each other. So if I want those, if I want those 2 sections to sit next to each other, I'm just going to do 50% width and float them exactly. I see some people in chat saying that already. So we'll just go here. We'll say main, and we'll be careful because there are subsections. So we'll use the direct child, right? And we'll go ahead and do width 50%. And then I think we're gonna have to give them a height because there's stuff inside, and like we could figure it out, but I'm a baddie writing bad code. I'm just gonna give them a width of 500 pixels. Just keep it channel 5, you know, 55th. And then float them left. There we go. I'm a baddie writing bad code. All right. So that should get them sitting next to each other. Let's see where we're at with that. Cool. We're almost there. We're almost there. All right. The last big piece is this like 4 over here. So let's do that. Let's just finish that up. That's just going to be main. We're going to do main section. And then sections that are inside of it. Yeah, that should work. Let's see. Main. Oh, I just want this section though. So I'm going to do main section plus section. Right, because I just want the ones that are inside of here. So I'll do main section plus section. That should work. Yeah. And of course we could do classes, we could use ID, but where's the fun in that when you're writing bad code? So main section plus section. Oop, not asterisk. Plus section. So give me the section that's inside the sibling section that's inside of main. So if we go and look at that one more time, just because I know that's kind of confusing. We're in main. We're gonna look for not this section, but this section that is the sibling, and then target all the sections that are inside, right? And we want them to sit next to each other, so they should be 50% width. And if the height's 500 pixels, we'll make them 250 pixels tall, right? So let's do that. We'll give them a width, 50%. And then height, I think we said 250. And then we need them to sit next to each other, so we got to float them. And let's actually make sure we can see them and do a border. 1 pixels, solid, black. it wouldn't be 25% width because there's two of them sitting next to each other, right? There's two of them sitting next to each other, so it's 50-50. Let's go. First try.
Bing bong.
Hey. Let's look at it. Let's look. Here's the image. Header. Two of the big sections sitting next to each other. Three at the bottom. And then ours. Come on now. Now, of course, there's like spacing we got to get right. There's text we got to get right. We got to probably bring things a little bit, stress things out a little bit. But in terms of a few minutes to get a core layout done, that's it. I didn't spend time needling little things. I just got into it. I didn't know what to do in certain parts, right? Like I kind of was like, let me try this. Let me see if this works. Let me touch this. Let me move that, right? And that's the process I go through. I get playful with my code, right? I get playful with my code. And the sooner you can let the inhibitions go and have fun with it, and knowing that you're going to probably code yourself into a corner, you're going to get lost, things aren't going to work, the more you play with it, the more you tap into your inner baddie and just write bad code, the better this is all going to go for you. And I know that's a lot to ask for some folks. Some folks really hold on to perfection. You got to let it go. Got to write some bad code, right? Cool. So I will, of course, share all of these quick layouts that we did together. I will make sure you have all the code, right? I'm going to ask that over this weekend, you try these on your own, right? You look up the things that you get stuck on. You look at my code. Don't be afraid to look at my code if you get stuck. Oh, maybe, why did Leon do that? Would I have done something differently? Would I have not used a main, or could I have used display inline? Like, think about it, play with it, have fun with it. The sooner you start to have more fun with your code, the better this is all going to be. Get rid of that saying or something that's inside your head that tells you it has to be great, it has to be perfect. Everyone starts here writing bad code. Write bad code. Get some wins on the board. Refactoring is for closers. Cool. Let's keep pushing. We got a few minutes until class is over. We did our layouts. A lot of y'all were kind of giving great suggestions as we were going along. So good stuff, everybody. All right. We talked about responsive websites, making sure our sites look good across all devices. I just want to get some repetition in, and then we'll do our raid as always, and spread some love and positivity around. So let's get some review in real quick with our last 10 minutes, and then I'll talk about the homework and the expectations over the weekend, and then we'll do a raid like we always do. Cool. So we used to have fixed websites that were stuck to one pixel size of width, and no matter what you did, they didn't respond to the size of the browser. That's in direct contrast to a site that's responsive, where the site will look good across all different devices, right? It'll look good on mobile, desktop, laptop, tablet. It doesn't matter. I'm going to say bye to Tina. Bye, Tina. There we go. Give Tina a break. She's going to throw it back out. Exactly. All right. So we talked about the core things that make a site responsive, right? Has to be fluid, right? All the stuff we did today, all the things that we just did today, like, they're fluid, right? I did everything in percentages. That's not bad, folks. That's not bad. It's fluid. We got that fluid underpinning, right? And so since we have a fluid underpinning, it looks good in between screen sizes, right? One thing that we didn't do too well, though, as we were doing this, was making our fonts and things elastic, right? Maybe that's something we would go back and change first, is making stuff elastic, sizing using M's and Rems. And then we would have to start making content decisions, right? Let's start making content decisions. We have to start using media queries to make those content decisions. But remember, fluidity comes from everything being in percentages. Elasticity comes from using M's and rems. And next week, we're going to spend more time with M's and rems. I know it's a tricky topic. The idea is that it's just a responsive unit of measure, meaning that we can set a base font size and then one M is representing of that base font size. And so the beautiful thing is we could do our whole site in rems. And if we wanted to double the size, right? If we wanted to double the size, we could just go ahead and double our HTML here. Yeah. Cool. But the last really important thing, right? The last important thing when it comes to responsiveness is content decisions. What should remain on the screen? What shouldn't be there? Should we get rid of this list? Should we get rid of our sides? What happens when we get to that screen size? And so we need fluid underpinnings, elastic underpinnings, and we need good content decisions. Cool. How do we make content decisions? Like, what helps us make those content decisions, chat? Our media queries, exactly. Our media queries are what help us to make sure that we are able to make those content decisions at different sizes. Cool. Here's an example of a media query, right? Where anything less than 600 pixels would be colored blue. And we coded a media query last class. So I'm going to save it because we're getting a little long here. Remember, we want to have this meta viewport at the top of any of our templates to make sure that our media queries will work across devices, not just on desktop, they'll work on mobile, tablet. Remember, we signed a lifelong pact to make sure we never set user scalable to no, which would stop people from pinching and zooming, which is one of the biggest accessibility devices that we have available. Your homework was to make this responsive. You should have already turned it in. If you don't, you can turn it in after class if you need to, but this was the homework to make it responsive. We're going to go over it together on Sunday. So on Sunday, come back. We'll have office hours. We'll review some of the layouts. We will review this layout specifically. We'll have time for questions. And if you're kind of stuck on any things that we did today or that we've done over the past couple of days, come to office hours. We're going to get more repetition in. We're going to get more practice in, and we're going to have some fun with it. Okay. Homework. There are in our folders for today, there's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff to be had for homework this week. And so I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page and that we go over it together. In the materials folder for today, we had the layouts that we did together. So we have these class layout photos, the BBC, the Khan Academy, the TechCrunch. Part of your homework this weekend, right? Part of your homework this weekend is to go through and do these again, right? Go through and do the BBC, do the Khan Academy, do the TechCrunch in the same vigor that I did it. Be a baddie, write bad code, floats only, right? No flex. This is a no flex zone until we get out of next week, right? Play with your percentages. The reason why I really also like it too is because it forces you to really understand the box model, understand how stuff are sitting next to each other. And so no flex zone, floats. Go back and do the BBC, do the Khan Academy, do the TechCrunch. Make sure you feel good with those. And then there's two other layouts that I want you to work through. There's this homework layouts folder that I have for you. I want you to work through those as well. So the first one is Level Ground. Level Ground is a client that we had at Resilient Coders. Way back in the day, Resilient Coders had an agency and we used to do projects for other nonprofits. And so this is one of the clients we had and what we did. And here's kind of like what a wireframe would look like that comes from a designer. It's kind of all boxes and it's a pretty clean layout to try for one of your first real layouts, right? You got kind of just plain text and boxes. And so if you can get through the BBC, you can definitely do this layout. And so be a baddie, write bad code, try and get it as close as possible, right? Footer goes wild. Yeah. Don't spend 4 hours on the footer. Be a baddie, write bad code, get as close as you can, right? And then there is one other one that is another, want you to dip your toe into it. Won't be due until next Thursday. I want you to try this layout. I know these look scary at first, but they're not. It's just some text, some sections, and that's it. It's exactly what we just did, right? This is BBC just in a slightly different way. And that's the beauty of it, right? At first, you're going to be shooketh, right? At first, you are shooketh. But once you do BBC, you see the patterns. Your everything opens up. You start seeing things floating around you, right? And you start to realize, holy crap, this is the bottom of BBC with one more. So instead of 33, it's 25. This is exactly Khan Academy, but we flipped it. We flipped it. This is exactly Khan Academy, but we just put the text on the side and the image on the right, right? This header is easier than the headers we did together today. So don't look at this and get scared. Every single pattern that's here, you have already done. You've already done everything on this page. Then take it another level. Give me a media query. Make it look good on mobile, right? Don't let that doubt creep into you. Get in, play, build, start to see the patterns, build up. There's a reason we went from TechCrunch to Khan Academy to BBC to this. Those patterns build, right? Don't worry about getting it pixel perfect. Just get your win on the board. Be a baddie, write bad code. Then folks always ask, Leon, can I push? Is there some push work I can do? I got through this. I want to push. Boom. Here you go. That's your push work. Have fun. It's your push work. Have fun. You want to push? There you go. Push. This is it. Build a real site. Get this layout done. Right? That's your push work. So you asked for it. That's your push. Now I got this and this from Dribbble. Dribbble is a place where folks can share their designs. So these are not my designs. You can see Max made this one, and I'll actually have the link in the files. And then Sergi made this one as well. So these are like not my designs. These are just coming from Dribbble. So definitely I'll link to the creators as well. But yeah, this is your work. You got some things to get done this weekend, folks. We saw some layouts. We've unlocked our inner baddie. We're going to write bad code, and we're going to start to get some of this stuff done. So please, I know it's a lot. I know it's hard, but I know that you can do this. I know you can do it. And so let's go ahead. Let's get a raid going. Let's spread some love and positivity. I really enjoy this person. They do a lot of data sciencey stuff, specifically in sports, which is really cool. So we're going to go over the Nick Wen, and we're going to give them some love, positivity, follows. They're an amazing streamer. And if you want to play some CSGO, we're playing some CSGO later tonight. I'll share it in our channels when the server goes live. Feel free to come play, hang out, test the server with me, and we're going to do this raid. So let me go ahead and queue up the raid real quick. You always want to do the raid because you get the sweet channel points. And I'll see you all over there. All right, folks. Peace. Have a wonderful evening. Hope you had some fun this class, writing some bad code. I'll see you over there. Let's raid.